Hello, dear yarn lovers out there. Doug here from Albuquerque in New Mexico with another episode about knitting. And in case you wonder what I'm wearing, this is the Fog Cutter by Thea Coleman that I have made a few years ago. It's really hands down one of my favorite sweaters that I've ever made for myself. I've used hand spun yarn and any other details like needle size and such you can find on Ravelry. I have hand spun the yarn after dyeing the fibers in a shade that I wanted, kind of like an icy iceberg bluish hue. And it's a shorter one, and I usually wear it with a white shirt underneath, and I think it's very flattering because I'm not the tallest with 5'4", and so it's kind of it's one of those that are not so overwhelming on a smaller person, not a tall person. No. Yes. I am Paper Doug on Ravelry. Find me and friend me. I'm super happy if you will do that. And I'm also always up to date with my projects, so you can find everything. Like if you're like, what did you say? Log cutter, log, blah, blah. You can find this. You'll recognize it when you see it in my feed. And from there, of course, you can get to the pattern. Yeah. What have I been knitting? I am currently working on some double knit socks with, I think both of these are DK or Sport Weight German sock yarns. And this could even be 150 grams, I think. Yeah. No labels, don't know what happened to them. And I have started some warm socks for the house for my daughter's boyfriend. Didn't get very far yet, but whatever. Yeah, they're gonna be growing fast. But yeah, I'm using 4 millimeter needles and 10 stitches per needle. Yeah. Just keep that on the sofa like that. And then, it's so boring. Sorry, but it's also very satisfying. I am monogamously knitting on a sweater for my husband, and hold on a second. Yeah, wow, our 28th wedding anniversary is coming up soon. And in all this time, all I've made for him are double knit socks. But also, this is kind of like a cute story, because we first met when I was in college and he was in the army in Germany. And when he had to go back to the States, I gifted him a pair of socks, and they were made with cotton. I couldn't afford a lot of yarn. I couldn't afford yarn shopping big time at that point in my life. And so that yarn, for some reason, I had in my miniature stash, and I used it for those socks. And if he had worn them, they would probably be history by now. But I don't think he ever wore those socks, but he kept them. And if you knew my husband, you'd be very surprised, because he's the person, I'm the hoarder in the house. He's the one who gets rid of everything. But these socks he had still kept. So when we reconnected and he showed me the socks, I'm like, wow, dude, that's impressive. Yeah. But still, I didn't. To get back to the sweater, you need to know that I didn't ever think that he would wear a hand knit sweater. That's why I never bothered. I mean, that's a lot of work. But now he redeemed himself. This is actually the sweater that he recently wore. I mean, such a feminine sweater, but he needed something warm when he helped me set up for the Christmas market in December. And I said, okay, here's the bag, pick what you want. And this was, well, he picked this one. It didn't matter. There were not a lot of choices because probably maybe just 2 sweaters in there. And very, very quickly, he's like, oh my God, this is so warm. This is so warm. This is fantastic. And even with that neckline, I mean, that didn't do much for him up here. But so now he redeemed himself, eligible for a hand knit sweater. And I am proud to say that I am quite far into the project, which is here. 2 sleeves done. And down to here. But Houston, there's a problem. Oh my goodness. First problem was that the yarn that I decided to use, Knit Picks Stroll, I had a 10-pack that I had found for a steal at my thrift store. Actually, a bunch of packs. You're gonna see more in a minute. The ones I started making a swatch. I did not like the swatch. I talked about that in the last full episode. It was just, I don't know. I thought it was flimsy. Yeah. And so I dyed up ziawoolz Sugarloaf, which is a light fingering, and I think I nailed it. And yeah, I'm holding these together. I'm using 4.5 millimeter needles, and it's a quite dense but very warm fabric. I mean, it's going to be great, especially when we're going to be in New York City soon with another Arctic blast coming through there. I just got the text message from our daughter, so I was hoping that by the time when we come, it's not going to be so bad, but I think no such luck. Yeah. So hopefully this will be done. However, the problem is that this is all I have of this Knit Picks yarn. Yeah. If you have this in your stash, I'm gonna blink my eyelids and I'm gonna say pretty please with a cherry on top, and I will definitely either pay you or send you yarn. German sock yarn or hand-dyed yarn, you just say the word. And just to refresh your memory, Knit Picks Stroll Sport in the colorway Rainforest Heather. Yeah. I think I'm gonna need probably 2 more balls. Yeah, they're 50 grams each. Yeah, and there's one that I found on Ravelry where this was in a D-stash, and I emailed the person, but I haven't heard back. So either they don't have it anymore and just thought, whatever, you figure it out, lady, or she doesn't go on Ravelry that often. Because what you can do is you can definitely do a setting, turn that on, that your Ravelry messages go straight to your email. But I think I'm just realizing that I think I can also check if that person has seen my message. I haven't even done that yet. Do you want to stay tuned? Hold on. No, I lied. Sorry, I can't figure it out after all. It says something like mark as read, but what does that mean? I don't know. So, whatever. It is what it is. I haven't heard back, so fingers crossed. That would be the easiest solution. Otherwise, what I'm going to do is I'm going to harass some people that have that yarn in their stash and harass in the nicest way possible and offer them some nice incentive. So hopefully someone gets back to me and says, sure, you're the sweetest person I've ever talked to online. So here's the yarn. Send me what you want. Who knows what's going to happen? Yeah, so that's the story of the Hanstholm for my husband. The pattern is by Petite Knit, as you are probably unable to overlook. It's a nice sweater. My friend Karen has made 3 so far for her husband, she said. And as I was cruising rearranging some stuff outside in the garage where I've rearranged my dye studio, I've cleaned up my stash, reorganized yarn, la-di-da, looked and admired my beautiful stash, and I have found something where I thought, oh my God, I really, really, really want to make something with this. And that is another thrift store find. I found a bunch of like 10 packs at one time at my favorite thrift store and bought them all. And I have gifted a bunch to friends, but I have kept like that dark green that I'm using for his sweater, as well as this yarn. It was a 10 pack that I opened. Hold on. Gotta reach. I think I just ate some fuzz. So this is a different yarn. This is not as soft as the stroll. And you're going to say, lady, can anybody do anything right for you? The other one was too flimsy. This one is too firm. No, it's actually not. So what happened was after I got that yarn, I got some wonderful alpaca in a D-stash from a local knitter. And I used to know what this yarn is, what the content is. I know I can't remember. It's not all not 100% alpaca, but it doesn't have silk like ziawoolz velvet. But I found this and I thought, gosh, this has to come into the house out of the stash bin, and hopefully I will knit something with this soon. Since I'm usually just twiddling my thumbs all the time, as you know, I'm whipping out knits left and right. Who am I kidding? But at least I have made a swatch. Yes, here it is. I am holding the two together because I really wanted to see if it's okay that the firmer yarn with that soft alpaca and how that fabric turns out. And I really, really love it. Look at me. I felt very accomplished when I attached my notes to that giant swatch. If you've been here, you may remember that a few years ago, this is about the size that my swatches were, really like stamp size. Yeah, that does not work. So after knitting, I actually thought I would be able to use that, the biggest needle size. What was it again? 6 millimeters up here. But after washing, yes, I washed it. I thought I like the one in the middle best, which is 5.5 millimeters. And yes, yet again, I was thinking ivy, and this I had to knit the sample as I was dyeing up a bunch of colors. And let me back up a little bit. Over Valentine's Day, I will be in Winslow, Arizona again, where we have the knitting retreat. If you're local and you're going and you wonder why is Doug not coming, Doug is coming. In the last email blast, it was, for some reason, it fell through that I am going to be coming. I'm going to be a vendor again, and I'm excited about it, as I always am. I love those retreats. It's a 2-day retreat in the La Posada in Winslow, and it's such a beautiful location. The hotel is covered in art, giant paintings, and such a nice venue. You can find a lot of different corners to sit and hang out with your friends to knit. It's just great. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And I have dyed a lot of kits for the Ivy sweater, which is the sweater that I made for my daughter. Again, petite knit. And I have to say that I feel bad that even though I have dyed up a wide range of solid colors, and I hope that everybody's gonna love them, and as much as I do. But, and here's the but, I can only dye up 3 skeins of that velvet and the desert candy at a time, and so I did not feel comfortable. Excuse me. Oops, I'm spitting. I'm getting so excited about this. That's funny. Or not. I did not spit on the yarn. I promise. So this is the color that I have decided on for myself. And the sweater is knit with 5 millimeter needles. But like I said, I am really sorry. I don't think I can dye up 4 skeins and say, oh, this is going to be great in a sweater. They might turn out different, with too much variation in what, even if it's, or maybe especially because it's 1 dye lot. But then again, if you do 2 dye lots, you also don't want to do that. So 5 millimeter needles I have made for my daughter. I gave you all the specifications in that last special episode where I talked only about that sweater, and I showed you the yarn that, oh no, I did not show you what I plan to use. But I have knitted the size large. But because of my needle size and because of my gauge issues, I knew that it was not going to turn out a size large, and it didn't. So now for myself, this is what I will be using, and hopefully I'm going to be able to be pretty far along by the time we are at the retreat, so that everybody can see how nice this pattern is and how nice this yarn is as a combo. I'm just really looking forward to starting that. I have just today been winding my 3+3 skeins. Here they are. Yeah, and probably tonight one more time on my husband's sweater, maybe 2 nights. So I see how far I get with the yarn that I have. And then it's the ivy. And I probably, so I can really show everybody what the yarn is, what my thought process was behind assembling all these kits. I'm probably at least gonna get the body done and then put the sleeve stitches on holders and wear it kind of like as a short sleeve sweater. Yeah, I'll see. Yeah, and that's my plans for the ivy, but there is also a new stash that I wanted to tell you about. And I am talking about this beauty. I'm really not 100% sure if I showed you or not in the last episode, but I thought we all love to see yarn and we all love to see each other's stash. So hey, if you ever want to put up a stash video on YouTube, I'm the one who's first to watch. I love that. I love to see stash. Yeah. This was a late Christmas gift from a local friend of mine. Very thoughtful. She bought it for me in, I forgot where. Does it say? But I feel like it's very me. Hand dyed in Connecticut. Yes. Earth and Empress fibers. Yeah. Very, very me. No plans yet. And then I went to the yarn store at Nob Hill. Why did I even go? They have a lot of new yarns. Big, giant selection in stock, and of course you can order anything. And I fell in love again with Harriet Fine. I may have mentioned in the special episode that I want to make a tawny cardigan using Harriet Fine and holding it with ziawoolz velvet, which is the same as this, which I want to make that cardigan, the tawny cardigan with the Harriet Fine in blue. You can see it in the last episode, that special episode where I show my daughter's ivy sweater. But then there's another color that I love so much in the Harriet Fine by Juniper Moon Farm. And it's this glorious green. There's probably a lot of you out there who remember more than I do. And maybe you remember that, hey, Doug, you have already worked with this yarn. Yes, I have indeed. A few years ago, maybe 2, I think, could have been, I made the Aster Shawl by Natasha Hornby with exactly this yarn. And I loved working with this, and I loved the colorway. Unfortunately, the Harriet Fine only has this beautiful green and the beautiful blue that you saw in the other episode, and but I wanted this green. And while I was at the yarn store, I saw a cardigan. Hold on, let me grab the pattern that I have purchased. It's a Barocco cardigan, Barocco pattern. And does this look nice? No, not so very much. I'm just so surprised sometimes how these pictures don't do the actual item justice. And because I saw this cardigan at the yarn store, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be just perfect for this yarn. I hope it's not gonna wash out the pattern too much, but it's such a simple pattern that I think it's going to be okay. And then I have my own something in this glorious green. Did I even check the gauge or the weight or the needle size? Yeah. Gauge 16 stitches. I will not get gauge with this. Oh my gosh, 4 millimeters. Well, I'll figure it out. You know me, I always do. So that was that. You have seen it all. I'm going to check one more time. So that's it from me for today. And even though this is a shorter episode, I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. I always love chatting with you, and I will see you again when I'm back from New York City. Bye. Happy knitting, my friends.